Noel is from the Uganda National Drug Authority, and he's going to tell us about what's happening in the area of mutual registration of vaccines in East Africa. As Pascal was saying, one of the greatest challenges has been that you've got 54 African countries, potentially all having their own registration difficulties. So we're hoping to hear from you that there may be some progress on the way forward. Thank you, Noel.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I hope after this presentation I'll have helped Pascal with one of his challenges. So I'm going to talk about the mutual recognition of vaccines, registration of vaccines in East Africa, and talk about the progress that we have made and some of the issues that have arisen. Give a brief background of the initiative, talk about the mutual recognition procedure and how we established it, and the progress and the benefits that we have been able to achieve over the last few years. So for those who may not know, that is the map of Africa, and in green, this is the East African community. This is Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, and recently we are joined by South Sudan. So it's an economic and political grouping of 6 countries now found in the eastern part of Africa. So these are the national medical regulatory authorities of the 6 countries. In Burundi, we have the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock. In Kenya, we had the Farmers and Poison Board. Now the role has been taken over by the Veterinary Medicines Directorate. In Rwanda, we had the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources. They have now created the Rwanda Food and Drug Authority. In South Sudan, the regulatory obligations are still being done by both the South Sudan Food and Drug Agency and by the Ministry of Animal Resources and Fisheries. And in Tanzania, we have the Tanzania Food and Drug Authority, and in Uganda, we have the National Drug Authority that I work for. So this initiative has been and continues to be supported by the Global Alliance for Livestock Medicines, and I'm happy that Dr. Jeremy Salt represents the government here in this meeting. So a workshop was organized in Cape Town in South Africa for all Africa regulators in 2010. And 3 issues emerged. That is the development of a harmonized registration system for immunologicals. The regulators requested for training in assessing these dossiers as they are quite complex. And of course, the establishment of a system for mutual recognition. So what is actually mutual recognition procedure? What does it mean? So what we do, a vaccine registration application is assessed by one country, which we refer to as the reference country, on behalf of other countries. An assessment report is sent to the concerned countries which are participating in the initiative, and then which then mutually recognize it, leading to marketing authorization in all the countries simultaneously. So there are 2 types of MRP. We have one for new products, and we have one for expanding existing MAs. That is, if the product is registered in one country, an applicant can apply to expand the registration status in the other countries. So one of the things that we had to do, obviously, was to have harmonized documents so that all the countries are using exactly the same texts, that for both their national procedures and for the regional procedure. And that's a list of some of the documents that have been created. We created a common dossier structure, a technical guideline, templates for labeling, and a summary of product characteristics. And then we have an application form that is available on our websites. And we have created over 20 other technical documents that are used both internally and for the applicants. So these documents are available, and the applicants can always access them and apply to register their products in this procedure. And of course, we have also done a lot of training, both for the manufacturers, mainly the ones in Africa, on preparation of dossiers, because it's also quite a complex exercise. We have trained our regulators in dossier assessment, trained also our assessors, our inspectors in GMP inspection of the biologicals, because most of the GMP inspectors that are available in Africa have had experience in inspection of pharmaceutical facilities and not biologicals. And we established a technical working group for the East African community that coordinates this work, and we have had 13 meetings so far. We have also had engagement with policymakers, the private sector, and other stakeholders through the 5 East African countries at that time before South Sudan joined us. So I will not go through this. These are some of the legal decisions that had to be taken, because this procedure has to be supported by the legal framework in the East African community. So the East African Treaty has got Article 108, and that was the basis for this procedure to take place. And then it had to be adopted through a number of decisions by various councils of ministers for it to eventually take effect. And this was on 5th September 2016. That's when, at the 34th meeting of the Council of Ministers, that's when the ministers directed partner states to implement the mutual recognition procedure for EVPs. And because they had been happy with the work that had been done, they also instructed the East African community to develop a harmonized DMP guideline for conducting joint assessment in the meantime as we build trust. And also, we also had to also convene a number of meetings, as I said, to sensitize the stakeholders on what was happening. And through the support of government, we were able to set up a coordination office at the East African community to coordinate this process. And the process of mobilizing resources to finance this MRP is ongoing, because it has got to be self-sustaining when eventually government leaves. So that is simply the text to show you that that was actually the document of the East African community that established the initiative. So that is what gives it the legal backing. And you'll get, of course, you get access to this presentation. I will not go through the process that we go through. I described it briefly, but basically, the shortest time that you'll get a marketing authorization is 150 working days if everything is in order and the GMP certificate has been issued. So within 150 working days, we provide you with a marketing authorization in all the countries that you have applied for. If there are issues of appeals and disagreements between countries, they can be resolved within 230 days or within 290 days. So 290 days is the longest that you have a regulatory decision for marketing authorization using this process. And of course, this takes shorter time than if you went through the national procedures, because the national procedures sometimes take longer than this. So in effect, what we wanted to communicate is that for other regions that may be interested in this procedure, there are 3 important things that you need. You first of all need a very big commitment of partner states, because it's about give and take for them to accept giving the responsibility to another country, and then to recognize the work that they have done. So that commitment is very important. The stakeholders have got to be sensitized for them to buy into the process. And of course, at the end of the day, the applicants have got to be willing to use this new system for it to work. So right now, the system is now open for business. We have so far registered 1 product, which coincidentally belongs to PASCO, which we registered in June, a poultry product. Okay, it belongs to BI. We have 2 products under assessment, which are also still, these are poultry vaccines. We have established a coordination office, as I mentioned. We have now embarked on MRP for the vet pharmaceutical products. Having completed the biologicals, now we are going to the other veterinary pharmaceuticals, which we also intend to have a system for that. And we have also received a lot of interest from the other regional economic communities, mainly from SADC and ECAS. ECAS is the Central Africa regional grouping that also are interested. So, as I conclude, what are the benefits of MRP? It is predictable and time-bound. It reduces on duplication due to the fact that you're doing joint assessment and inspections. You don't have to continuously, each country going to do GMP inspections each and every day. Of course, it builds, builds experience and trust between regulators. And obviously, at the end of the day, this is very crucial to the availability of quality, safe, and efficacious vaccines for transboundary diseases like EuFMD. And also what I was wanted to mention, we actually encourage, if there are other applicants that wish to use this process for EuFMD vaccine, we actually accept multi-strain dossiers. So you don't have to go through those commutations you did. We register the strains, and then you can always have the different combinations as and when the serotyping is done after the outbreaks. So I wish to acknowledge the EAC and the Global Alliance team led by Dr. Lois Muraguri, which has been responsible for this process. Thank you very much.